I got a couple examples here of the most common types of spark plugs for boosted M20 and M30 engines. They work in both. We'll start with the first. This one is kind of a good go-to. It's the NGK BPR7ES. There's the part number for you. These ones, the P stands for protruded, and I'll show you that in a second. So if you look at it here, this is the 7. You can see that the electrode and the insulator there, the ceramic, sticks out a lot further. So let me see if I can get a better example here. So you can see right there, it sticks out. And so the electrode, everything will stick out a little bit further in the combustion chamber. A lot of guys say that the one that is not protruded is a little bit better because it keeps the heat out of the insulator and the ceramic and everything there, and the electrode's a little bit sucked in. It just depends on the situation. Most of the time, the one that's protruded won't be an issue. I have personally run these up to like 20 PSI, somewhere around there, and not had any issues. This is like a really good go-to on anything that's, like maybe under 20 PSI, not making a ton of power. And that's a good go-to. Also, if you're gapping them, low boost, you can gap like 24 thousandths. High boost, closer to 20 thousandths, has been my experience. A lot of the times, the M30 that I have isn't so fussy, but the M20 likes to have tighter gap on higher boost. So when you're like 20, 21 pounds, it really likes to be closer to 20 or 19 thousandths. Okay, this is the next guy, the BR8ES. You can see it's all sunk down inside a little bit. It's not as exposed in the combustion chamber. It's also a cooler heat range. So the heat range, it's this number 8, 7. They have 6s, 5s. And the lower you go, the hotter the plug is. And the higher you go, the colder the plug is. It's a temperature range. You can read about it. I wouldn't do it justice explaining it in this video, but basically the colder the plug you go, the harder you can run them, the more heat you can put in them, higher boost levels and things without the plug itself getting too hot and creating a potential for detonation. So yeah, there's this one, and this is what I'll be testing next in the M20. We're going to be right around like 23 to 26 PSI of boost. So we're going to go with this colder guy gapped down to 20 thousandths. And there's one more extra little bonus. These plugs, they're not like modern plugs that take, they have a 5/8 hex on them. These ones are 13/16 or 21 millimeters if you get a socket. So that's just one thing to keep in mind if you're getting them. I got this time the type of socket that has a rubber in it. It's really hard to see, but it has a rubber piece inside that grabs the top of the spark plug so you can just remove it out a little bit easier. But it's not necessarily on these M20s. You can kind of just grab once it's out, you can just grab it with your hand and pull it out if it's cool. But this definitely helps if it's a little bit hotter. So there's a little overview of my experience with what plugs to use in an M20, M30 for turbocharging.